A black soldier, proud in his military uniform, walks through the airport, only to be grabbed, shoved, and accused of stealing. The white cops refuse to check his ID, calling him a liar as they twist his arms behind his back. But just when it seems all hope is lost, karma hits harder than anyone ever expected. Stay tuned. Staff Sergeant Jamal Rivers stepped off the plane at the airport, his Army service uniform spotless, his name embroidered above his chest. He had just returned from an overseas deployment, eager to surprise his mother in Atlanta before heading to his base in North Carolina. He adjusted his duffel bag and checked his phone for a message from his ride. As he moved toward baggage claim, he noticed the looks, the stares. It wasn't admiration, it wasn't respect, it was suspicion. A group of airport security officers whispered amongst themselves. A white woman near the coffee shop clutched her purse tighter. 2 TSA agents kept their eyes locked on him. Jamal had been in uniform long enough to recognize the difference between admiration and fear. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Hidden Sparks for more powerful stories like this. He sighed. Not again. Jamal had faced this before, people doubting that a black man could be a soldier. But today, something felt different. The air was thick with tension. As he reached the escalator, a sharp voice cut through the noise. "Hey, you! Stop! Right there!" Jamal froze, his muscles tensed. Slowly, he turned to see 2 police officers striding toward him. Officer Ryan Beckett, a burly man with a thick mustache, had one hand on his holster. His partner, Officer Luke Haynes, a tall, wiry man with sharp blue eyes, glared at Jamal as if he had already done something wrong. Jamal kept his hands visible. He had learned years ago that moving too quickly could cost him his life. "Is there a problem, officer?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Beckett scoffed. "Yeah, there is. We got a report about a stolen military uniform, and look at you, walking around wearing one." Jamal blinked. "Excuse me?" "Don't play dumb," Haynes sneered. "Where'd you get that uniform?" Jamal squared his shoulders. "I earned it," Beckett snorted. "Really? You expect us to believe that?" He gestured to Jamal's duffel bag. "Open it." Small crowd had started forming. Travelers slowed their steps, whispering amongst themselves. A woman pulled out her phone and started recording. Jamal took a deep breath. "I don't have to show you anything unless you have probable cause. You have no reason to search my property." Haynes stepped closer, his jaw tight. "Listen here, boy. You do what we say, or we'll make you do it." The word boy cut deep. Jamal clenched his fists, but kept his composure. "I'm not a boy. I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Army, and you have no right to harass me." Beckett smirked. "That's funny, because we got a report of a black male impersonating military personnel, and you match the description." Jamal's blood boiled. "You think I stole my own uniform?" Haynes grabbed Jamal's arm. "I don't think. I know. Now, hands behind your back." The crowd gasped. A little black boy holding his mother's hand watched with wide, frightened eyes. Jamal didn't resist, but he didn't comply either. "I will not be treated like a criminal. I fought for this country. I deserve respect." Beckett yanked the duffel bag off his shoulder and dumped it onto the floor. His military documents, neatly folded dress blues, and personal belongings spilled out. "See?" "What did I tell you?" Beckett announced. "Fake." Haynes smirked. "Looks like we got ourselves a liar." Jamal's jaw tightened. "Call my commanding officer. He'll clear this up in seconds." Beckett shoved Jamal against the wall. "Oh, you ain't getting no favors today." Haynes reached for his radio. "We got a situation at Gate 4. Suspect resisting arrest." "Lies," a voice shouted. The officers turned to see an elderly black man in a veteran's cap stepping forward. "I've been watching this whole thing. This man ain't resisting nothing." The crowd started murmuring in agreement. More phones were raised. A woman yelled, "That's racial profiling." But the cops didn't care. Beckett pulled out his cuffs. Haynes twisted Jamal's arm behind his back. Jamal gritted his teeth. His patience had run out. "Do you have any idea who I am?" Jamal said, his voice like steel. Beckett rolled his eyes. "Yeah, you're a fraud." Then another voice boomed through the terminal. "Unhand that soldier." Silence. A tall, authoritative black man in a police captain's uniform strode toward them. His badge gleamed. His nameplate read, "Captain Andre Maxwell." Beckett and Haynes stiffened. "Captain," Beckett stammered. Maxwell's dark eyes burned with fury. "I said, unhand that soldier, right now." The officers hesitated before finally releasing Jamal. He straightened his uniform, his arms aching from their grip. Maxwell turned to Jamal. "Are you all right, Sergeant?" Jamal nodded. "I'm fine, sir. But these two men just assaulted me, falsely accused me of a crime, and disrespected my service." Maxwell's jaw tightened. He turned to Beckett and Haynes. "You two! My office! Now!" "But, sir," Haynes started. "Now!" Maxwell roared. Beckett gulped. Haynes swallowed hard. They knew they were in deep trouble. Maxwell turned back to Jamal. "I promise you, Sergeant, these men will face consequences for what they've done." The crowd erupted into applause. Some people cheered. The elderly veteran smiled proudly. As the officers dragged their feet toward their doom, Jamal exhaled. Justice wasn't fully served yet, but karma was coming, and it was coming fast. If you're enjoying this story and want to hear more, hit that subscribe button now on Hidden Sparks. Don't miss out. Inside the Atlanta Airport security office, the air was thick with tension. Officers Ryan Beckett and Luke Haynes sat stiffly in metal chairs, their faces pale. Across from them stood Captain Andre Maxwell, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Staff Sergeant Jamal Rivers leaned against the wall, his posture strong, his uniform still neat, despite what he had just endured. He wasn't just here for an apology. He was here to make sure justice was served. The door swung open, and a short, stocky white man in a navy blue suit walked in. His badge read, Chief Walter Granger. He glanced at Jamal, then at the two officers. "Tell me what happened," Granger said, his voice low and cold. Before Beckett could open his mouth, Maxwell spoke first. These two officers, falsely accused an active-duty soldier of theft, assaulted him in public, and attempted to arrest him with no evidence. Granger's gaze hardened. "Is that true?" Beckett swallowed. "Sir, we were just doing our job. We received a report about a stolen military uniform, and this man matched the description." "Really?" Granger's tone was deadly calm. "Because I reviewed the airport footage on my way here, and from what I saw, the only thing Staff Sergeant Rivers was guilty of was walking through this airport while black." Beckett and Haynes's faces drained of color. Granger continued, "Not only did you humiliate a decorated soldier, but you also lied on your report, calling him resistant when he clearly wasn't. That's falsifying an official statement." Haynes shot up in his seat. "We didn't mean—" "Sit down." Granger's voice was a whip. Haynes sat. Maxwell folded his arms. "You didn't even check his military ID before manhandling him. You assumed he was a fraud just because he's a black man in uniform." Granger sighed and turned to Jamal. "Staff Sergeant Rivers, I'd like to personally apologize on behalf of this department. You were treated unfairly, and I promise you this will not go unpunished." Jamal met his gaze. "Apologies don't fix what happened. These men need to face real consequences." Granger nodded. "Oh, they will." He turned back to the officers. "Effective immediately, both of you are suspended without pay, pending an internal investigation. If found guilty of discrimination and abuse of power, you'll be fired and stripped of your badges." Beckett shot up again. "Sir, you can't be serious." Granger's voice was sharp as a blade. "You think I'm joking?" He threw a thick file onto the desk. "You two have multiple complaints against you, racial profiling, excessive force, misconduct, and now you've gone and harassed an American hero. You're lucky we're not pressing charges." Haynes's hands balled into fists. "This is unfair." Maxwell stepped forward. "You think unfair is being accused of stealing your own uniform? You think unfair is being shoved against a wall in front of a crowd, treated like a criminal when you've done nothing wrong?" His eyes darkened. "You don't know unfair, but you're about to." The room was silent. Beckett slumped in his seat, his head dropping into his hands. Haynes gritted his teeth, his whole body trembling with anger. Granger nodded toward the door. "Get out of my sight, both of you!" With nothing left to say, Beckett and Haynes dragged themselves toward the exit. But just as they reached the door, Jamal spoke. "Hey, officers!" They turned, bitterness in their eyes. Jamal took one slow step forward, his voice steady. "Next time you see a black man in uniform, show some damn respect. We fight for this country, too." The door slammed shut behind them. Maxwell let out a slow breath. Granger rubbed his temples. "Rivers," Granger said, "if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out." Jamal nodded. "I appreciate that, sir. But what I really need is for this to stop happening to people who look like me." Maxwell stepped forward, placing a firm hand on Jamal's shoulder. "We've got a long way to go, but today we took a step in the right direction." Jamal exhaled. He knew this wasn't the end of racism, discrimination, or injustice, but today, at least, the right side won. As he grabbed his duffel bag and left the office, the weight on his chest felt just a little lighter. Because for once, karma came right on time. They tried to strip him of his dignity. They tried to twist his story, like so many before him. But what they didn't count on was truth, was justice, was the crowd that refused to look away. Today, one soldier stood his ground, and the system, for once, stood with him. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Hidden Sparks, because silence has never brought change, but voices like yours can.